after sunset, when the dog barks, people tremble in the villages. I don't want to say when I say it hurts me. I know it. It's happening every day. One girl who was engaged to a boy about to be married, 2 Indian captains came, simply was a beautiful looking girl, raped. She could not stand. She committed suicide. That was 74. And again in 84, again another beautiful, she was weaving. One captain entered a sail force, said, nothing doing, I do not. And she was just shot dead in her loom, lying like she died. These are the things.
In the mainstream Indian consciousness, the Northeast has always existed on the periphery, social, physical, and political. The Northeast has also existed on the periphery of Indian democracy. The people of the region have been led to believe, and they suspect, that their demands for basic democratic rights have been termed as subversive, something meant to be crushed by the might of the armed forces, empowered by draconian laws. One such law is the Armed Forces Special Powers Act of 1958. To understand the oppression and the anger that the people of the Northeast feel today, one needs to understand the history of this act. It was an ordinance that was brought in 1942 by the British colonial rulers to crush the rising tide of the Indian national movement. Ironically, even independent India could not stay away from this ordinance for too long. A replica of the 1942 ordinance was brought in by the Home Ministry in 1958 to be implemented immediately in parts of the Northeast. When the bill was being discussed in Parliament, it met with strong opposition from the MPs of Manipur. To quote one of them, Mr. Leshram Achor Singh, "This piece of legislation is an anti-democratic measure and also a reactionary one. It would cause more repression, more misunderstanding, and more unnecessary persecution. This is a black law. How can we imagine that these military officers should be allowed to shoot to kill without warrant and search? This is a lawless law." According to the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, the governor appointed by the central government can override the state government and can designate any area as a disturbed area. Further, in contravention of established norms of due process, the Act empowers non-commissioned officers of the armed forces with the right to conduct search and seizure operations and arrest people without any warrant. Further, it empowers them to shoot to kill. No legal proceedings can be initiated against these non-commissioned officers for the abuse of such arbitrary powers without the prior permission of the central government. So an act that was brought in to last for only 1 year continues to be in force even today, creating havoc in the lives of the common people of the Northeast. And all this in the name of maintaining national security.
Aigi nupadu tang mapangi nundang pung mapan makhaida tabiningba tadun mapanda phame.
Okay, on the night of the 9th at 9:30 p.m. my husband was listening to the radio.
I phamung da chak chare aduga phamung hible.
And I was lying down on the bed after my dinner.
Adagi minute manga taramula akanda.
After some 5-10 minutes,
army lai.
The army personnel came.
adagi namna changa e khoi gi imung da
And then forcibly they entered to our house.
check tawre
After that, they started checking.
aduga ai gi nupa makhut pai dun singa pura e
And then they dragged my husband, taking by his hands.
si kana no hange
He asked, "Who is this?"
ai gi puroi bani en hai
And then I said, "Yeah, that's my husband."
pu batare dudi hai
The army personnel said, "No, we have to take him along with us."
adagi ai gi nupa se makhut pai sing dhagre
And then they took along my husband forcibly with them.
aina su makhut jale
And then I tried to stop them.
ai nupa gi marang kari gi no ai gi nupa pu gaduri ba hai dun ai jale kana
I cried to them, "What's my husband's fault? Tell me my husband's fault."
adagi di ai se arami ne ko bat na suduna inthu biname wan thawre
But then I was beaten up by the police and then I fainted.
adudagi aina nungal kan da nungan ba amangan sinara pai matam du da lekai gi mena pai bi secretary club ki secretary punama aina haijarure
In the wee hours of the morning, I got up and I went to the club secretary and the Merapai members, and then I told them about the incident.
adagi lamjau gi pradhan ekoi haijarure ma hana aigi nupa phakhiba khoi gi aduda duty betoring lakpada masak khangba mina kairak ki army ni haiduna kairak ki army kem da ekoi mera pai bi secretary club secretary punna pradhan chale
I went to the Pradhan of Lamjau and then I told them the issue, and they told us that it was the Kairak army who had taken along my husband. So we went to Kairak army's barracks and then we went there to address the issue.
adagi ekoi mera pai bi secretary ne adagi club secretary ekoi kem du chang kan da hangne ngarang ekoi gi maran ke sulai taba angang ama sdesta nupi mayum da smart society bujagi lakhibni adu ngarang phakre aduna lakthok lakpani na haire
We went to the camp and then we told them that yesterday an innocent young man was being arrested by the police, and so we have come to take him along with us because he was innocent and he didn't have any fault of his.
phade ekoi khangde na haire moina
They said, "We don't know, we haven't arrested anybody."
khoi gi lamjau padhana haire smai tawdana tespu chingya da nipamsa nahama taduna lehaure amta jiungwi gi haduna sakhi
Then after that we came to know that with the testimony of the Pradhan of Lamjau that at the Tejpur Hill there was a dead body lying over there.
adagi aigi nupa se sire haibase aingona khangandre siduna lairamme
But then they didn't let me know that my husband was already dead.
aigi ipuroi aibu thamamba thadom numitu de ayamna wana lele
After my husband left me, since that time I have been leading my life of torture, of sadness.
aigi pori beisa se poduna ai labukta tharoi khumba nga phaba chatle
With the child at my back, I used to go to the field to fish and to collect snails from there.
adudagi silakpa pesaduna imamcha adu phau puk thanba ngamde
With the money I get after selling the fishes, but still we cannot feed ourselves. It was just from hand to mouth.
ayamna ware
I am very tired.
hayeng aigi isasina chawra kanda maron thola kanda hangada wahangdu khalubda ayamna wai
I am very sad and I am very tired of thinking when my child, when he can speak, when he asks me all the things, what could I answer to him?
isadin hayeng chawra kanda aigi baba kadai chakre haira badi ai kari khungani
When he asks, "Where is my father?" What
kari
do
no
I say
aina
to him?
khungadu baigi chachiga
What do I answer to him?
Jano Devi's experience provides us with a glimpse of everyday life of the common people in Manipur living under the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. In such a hopeless situation, there was one ray of hope in 1977 when in the post-emergency era, judges of the Supreme Court delivered some of their finest judgments, including an expansion of Article 21, which is the right to life under the Constitution of India. However, this post-emergency expansion of human rights to the rest of the country had no meaning for the people in the Northeast who continued to reel under the impact of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. In 1980, the Human Rights Forum of Manipur filed a case in the Supreme Court challenging the constitutionality of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. This was followed by a petition 2 years later, filed by the People's Union of Democratic Rights, and the Naga People's Movement for Human Rights also challenging the validity of the Act. Unfortunately, these petitions and a plethora of other appeals lay completely unaddressed by the Supreme Court for almost 2 decades. In the meanwhile, the tentacles of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act continued to spread throughout the state of Manipur, in many other regions of the Northeast, and even to Kashmir.
We were taken to the camp of Sikh Regiment at Mayang, Imphal. They asked us, which party do you belong to? He said that, I said that, see, I do not belong to any party. I do not have, you can't find any document from me or any weapon from me. So on what ground are you saying that I belong to some party? And I just happened to go with this person who was a surrendered fellow. But then we were taken again to Malum. We started being beaten up from Malum. We were taken to some 5 to 6 places. Continuously, we were being trashed up. I was being prostrated, I was tied, hands, legs, and I was blindfolded. Some person from the Sikh regiment, he lifted me up. And then they fed me with some disgusting object inside my mouth.
It's not clear. Please be clear.
Yeah. Huh? Okay. They inserted the genital organ into my mouth. And it was not by one person. Some 5 or 6 of them did that to me.